Dustin, good to see you. Interest rates, they're high right now. We're going to talk through how to make them work in your favor. For several months, the Fed has decided to leave those interest rates unchanged. And for the most part, it's not great news for borrowers, but it may offer some unique opportunities for savers. And we wanted to have this conversation now because interest rates may be cut, some people say, as soon as September. So what's happening right now?
Sure. So just recently we got the June inflation report. The numbers came in better than expected, cooler than expected. Right now on an annual basis, inflation's running right around 3%, down from 3.3% in May. So if that holds, Aaron, there's a good chance that the Fed could consider cutting rates in September or as early as year end. And remember, that has there's a big relationship between those Fed rates and interest rates. The reason why between inflation and interest rates, the reason why interest rates have been so high is we've been trying to tamp down inflation.
Right.
So if that inflation continues to moderate, it's going to give the Fed permission to cut those rates. And it's something that they've probably been wanting to do. We may see it sooner rather than later.
Right, which is why we want to talk through some unique opportunities that exist right now in this high interest rate environment. And the first consideration would be our bond allocation. Why is that?
Sure. So if you've been avoiding bonds in your portfolio because they didn't add much yield, it might be time to reconsider adding, increasing your bond allocation depending upon your risk tolerance, balancing out that portfolio. A couple of reasons why. First of all, those bonds with the coupon rates, higher interest rates, mean those bonds now add more yield to your portfolio than they did in years past. And just like when interest rates rose, we saw the value of bonds go down. Well, if they cut interest rates in the future and you're holding those bonds in your portfolio, you'll see the value of those bonds go up. So we can not only see capital appreciation in stocks, we can see it on the bond side of the portfolio as well.
All right, the next item to consider would be a multi-year guaranteed annuity.
Sure, they call these MIGAs for short.
Yeah.
Really great way to lock in short-term interest rates while they're high. You can lock in, for example, interest rates with a CD, but typically with multi-year guaranteed annuities, we can lock in higher interest rates than we typically see on CDs, and we can lock in those interest rates typically for a longer period of time than we could on a CD. Just like a CD, a multi-year guaranteed annuity is going to offer you a stated guaranteed rate for a guaranteed length of time. And if the saver holds that multi-year guaranteed annuity for that guaranteed term, they can typically enjoy that interest rate without paying any charges or any expenses of any kind.
All right, now staying on annuities, fixed indexed annuities. And Dustin, I'm sure you know right now, people are putting billions into annuities right now in the high interest rate environment.
Sure, because the terms have changed completely with the new interest rate environment.
Right.
So a fixed indexed annuity is just like a multi-year guaranteed annuity. It's going to guarantee your principal. But these fixed indexed annuities, or they call them FIAs for short, an FIA can typically give you more potential interest rate return than a multi-year guaranteed annuity or a CD will. So on an FIA, we don't participate in any kind of market losses, but in years where market indices are up, we'll participate in those gains up to a cap. Now, here's the thing to pay attention to, Aaron. In the interest rate environment we're in today, those caps are now 3 to 4 times higher than they were just a couple of years ago. So the terms are much more favorable. The potential returns are much better than they were a short time ago. So if you've got old fixed or fixed indexed annuities, now is the time to consider shopping those products against currently available products, which in many cases are much more competitive.
Right. And then last, you suggest people consider buffered ETFs.
Sure. The reason I'm bringing this up is we can oftentimes get on some of these buffered ETFs, we can get similar terms to a fixed indexed annuity where we can participate in some of the upside. But with some of these buffered ETFs, we can get 100% downside buffer or full protection of our principal at various intervals. And here's the kicker. So not only can some of these buffered ETFs right now, the annual return potential, the terms that I'm seeing can offer an investor approaching about 2%, what we can earn in terms of interest on a savings account or a CD. But we don't have to pay income taxes on the returns on these buffered ETFs. Just like on a savings account or a CD, we have to pay income taxes on the interest each and every year. Withdrawals from an annuity, we have to pay income taxes on the gains as that comes out. Instead, on a buffered ETF, you're going to pay capital gains rates, which tend to be much more favorable than income tax rates. And you don't have to pay those capital gains each and every year. You're only going to pay capital gains taxes when you decide to sell.
Yeah, I love that you're always thinking about tax efficiency as well, Dustin. Clearly, some great reasons to consider these, savings opportunities right now before the Fed cuts rates. How can somebody reach you with more questions?
They can shoot me a text, send me a question at 830-476-2505, or reach out on the website to book a free chat at longlivemymoney.com.
Great. Dustin, thank you.
Thanks, Aaron.